Good morning, good evening. Today is May the 2nd, of 2022. I will be discussing under the withholding taxation. How does one understand the certificate of registration? So this is a basic guide from the COR as to what returns must be filed by the taxpayer. When we say returns, these are the tax returns that you have to file, which shall be based from your COR. Sorry, but you have to deal with the not so nice reception of the microphone in my laptop because the microphone that I'm using is not the browser. It is in self-quarantining due to some virus. That's definitely not coronavirus. It's not COVID. So from BRR form 2303 or the certificate of registration. After you will notice the upper left-hand portion there's the TIN or the tax identification number. This is a 12 or sometimes a 15 numeric combination, and this is pre-assigned by the Bureau to you. So for each taxpayer, there must only be one TIN. Your name, in this form, the name shall be the name of the individual, complete name of the individual, and for non-individuals, the business name, the registration date, which is usually this is the first time that you registered with the bureau, or the first time that you registered your TIN number. So either you change your TIN because you opened a business, or you first got employed. My friend, I think the registration date was for the first employment. She's like younger than me. But anyway, so the registered address is in Las Piñas City, and the relevance of the address is that where you live or where you earn where you reside, or in case of an employee where you where the office address of the employer is, that's where the income shall be limited. So in this case, my friend lives in Las Piñas, and that's why she is under Revenue District 53A. This is the RDO right across, a little bit near to SM South. So the registered activities, these are the basis for what type of taxes will be filed. So what are the tax types? From here, it says income tax, unpaid tax quarterly, and we have here the annual registration, but it's basic. Right. I haven't muted my friend's name, but anyway, you don't have her TIN. So the trade name is under my friend's name. The line of business. This is the industry where the line of business or the industry is is the type of activity registered for the purposes of obtaining the COR. So since it's stated here that the auxiliary to insurance and pension funding. So I'm not sure if in my own COR I would also have this, but there can be one or two or more than one line of business registered under a taxpayer. But for this one, my friend is a life insurance agent, so this is the category designated by the bureau for this type of activity. Where are the numeric the naming convention of the line of business that in your TDR forms it's LOB. The basis of this is the I think it's the DTI's PSIC, Philippine Standards for Industrial Classification, if I'm not mistaken. So from here, it says income tax. So the income tax covers two aspects. There's the quarterly filing, and the other one is the annual filing. So when we say quarterly, there are 4 quarters in 1 year. However, for income tax purposes, the fourth quarter of the year, the filing for that would now be the annual income tax return. So, for example, in year 2022, and you're under in your 1901 when you applied for your EIN or when you registered your business or your profession, your practice, you indicate that you are following a calendar year period. So the first quarter would be January to March. The second quarter would be April to June. The third, July to September. And then the fourth one, October to December. So the third quarters, you will file 1701Q. And then for the whole year, so that covers already January to December, you will file the annual income tax return, which is 1701. Now, on the right side of the tax type, there's this percentage tax quarterly. Now, this is a business tax. This is form of sales, and this is imposed on the gross receipts, sales, revenue, income of the taxpayer. So, for under the Create law, it's now 1%. For those in the practice of profession or engaged in business. So that, for example, in Q1 of 2022, if Bernadette earned 1 million, then 1% of 1 million is the percentage tax due. Now, this is percentage tax quarterly return or 2551Q. This is due on the 25th day following the close of the quarter, so that Q1, first quarter of 2022, that was due on April 25. Then Q2 would be due on July 25, Q3 due on October 25, and Q4 due on January 25. The 25th day following the quarter close. So, 1 year, Bernadette would file at least, no, not at least, a total of um, 8 tax returns. So, what are those? 1701Q for the first quarter of 2022, due on April 25. Oh, sorry, May 15. 1701Q for the second quarter. I think it's due on As discussed in the previous page, this is the due date. So, like I mentioned earlier, it's May 15, August 15, November 15, and April 15. Yes. And the first quarter is May. What is it? This is not 1702 because she is not, this does not apply to her, the 1702. This portion, the portion which has an ending in, let me take a look. So this is what applies to burn debt is under single proprietor, or it would have the same tax returns as with a professional. So it elaborated there what's the name of the form, so it's 1701Q. Now, for corporation, partnership, and association, the quarterly tax, I've just mentioned that this does not apply to the single proprietor. The tax return would be 1702Q for the quarterly income tax return for juridical. So it's usually the 30th day following the close of the previous quarter. So previous quarter, in first quarter, no, it's 60 days. I'm sorry, it's 60 days. It's not. Yeah, it's 60 days. First quarter, it's May 30, so 60 days. Yeah, it's 60 days for corporate and corporate, partnership, or associations. So the third quarter is November 29 because there's 31 days in October. And then the annual 1702Q, it coincides with the annual filing for single proprietors or individual. Withholding tax expanded, you would have this if you would have, sorry, I have to. You have to go back to the withholding tax expanded. This applies to income payments from your suppliers or vendors. 1601Q, the last day of the following month after the end of the quarter. So, applicable to Bernadette. 0619E, that's the 10th of every month of the following month. So, January would be due on February 10th. 1604E, the annual information return, which is due on March 1. This is applicable to business people. So that this is the form. This is the this is the one related with my previous discussion in Form 2307. The taxes withheld in 2307. Those are reported under the withholding tax expanded returns. For the monthly returns, it's 20619E. Now for the quarterly returns, it's the 1601E2. The annual return would be in the alpha list. So the annual information return is due on March 1. Withholding tax and compensation, if you have employees, then that's due on the 10th day of the following month. I wonder if you can read this. I'd have to expand. But yes. So the annual information return or the alpha list would be due on January 31. So that form is 160 PCF. This one I have not made any video, so I think I will have to make another one. 1601C is also don't have a video for this. Now, the percentage tax, I've discussed this earlier, so this quarterly and how the due date and also discussed. It's not elaborated here. This is the part that we have not found in proportion, but it says here, within 30 days from registration date, the following should be accomplished. You have to know that you have to register a book. Which, sorry, authority to print invoice receipts. Now, this one I will discuss. You have to accomplish this because if not, I think the penalty is 10,000 pesos. I have to check, but it's around that number. So, what is the authority to print? This authority to print invoices and receipts is you authorizing the bureau to have a accredited BIR printer print your receipts. So, whatever is applicable to your business or your profession, whether you issue delivery receipts, collection receipt, receipt, sales invoice, it has to be enumerated in the authority to print. This is good for 5 years now. Does that mean if you have not consumed or if you have not utilized all your invoices or paper receipts within the time frame, then you have to report to the bureau that these are the unused portion. You have to, I think, one day actually had me surrender me the booklet, the news booklet. We do that. And then if you have not requested for a new authority to print when the 5-year period expired, there would be a penalty imposed on that. For individuals or sole proprietors, it would be 11,000. I have done that. I don't sole corporate or for individual persons, I think it's 25,000 plus. So, business accounts for manual business accounts, you have to the deadline of filing of first quarterly income of tax returns on the annual. This is due on or before. I think it's due on or before January 31 or December 31. So the card shall be registered before the deadline for filing of the first quarterly income tax return or the annual income tax return ever comes earlier. Payment of annual registration fee is on or before January 31 through BIR Form 0605. This is the general payment form. For those not specifically designated in the income, percentage, VAT, or other forms. Immediately inform the office in case of transfer, cessation of registration, and other concern by filing Form 1905. So 1905 is the form that you will update. I think I have it in. If I have it in the video, but not, then maybe we can create. If qualified and opted to avail of the 8% income tax rate, filing of quarterly percentage tax return is not required for the current taxable year the option is made. This is the tricky part. There's that discussion in the group that I have joined, whether or not you have to update or if you choose to be an 8% income tax payer, but the state score would be file a Form 1905 and indicate that you would want to be an 8% taxpayer, and then indicate it in your certificate of registration so that you don't have any problem once you shifted to 8% income tax rate, so that the this will trigger the system if you have updated your certificate of registration that you have chosen to be an 8% income taxpayer. This will trigger the system that you would no longer file 2512. What does that mean? If you have not specifically designated that and then the bureau didn't update you automatically because the system is not designed that way, then you would have to pay for an alternate for the quarterly income tax. Now you can dispute that, but really there is no uniform answer for each problem. I hope there would be, because it is not counted to me, but hopefully when you change, because the law says that you can file as an 8% income tax payer on the first um quarterly income tax return, you would select 8% instead of the itemized deduction, or the graduated rate. But please note that the tax return for the quarterly percentage tax return is due on April 25, while the um, quarterly income tax return is due on May 15. So if you have not, what I mean is that the percentage tax filing is due ahead of the income tax filing, so that it would probably still trigger an open case for non-filing of the quarterly percentage tax. These are the details that you have to be wary of, because once you miss out filing the tax return when it is due, there is an equivalent penalty for the non-filing. More importantly, if you have a tax due, only more you have to be careful. So that's it. I'm discussing this at length because most taxpayers do not understand what does this mean. So in this case, since my friend, I think he's in trouble for this, for non-payment, but you have to, just have to pay. There's no other way. There's no shortcut to it. Why do you have to pay? Whenever there is an open case, for non-filing of an tax return under your tax identification number, in open cases for non-filing of tax returns do not go away. There is no such thing as the prescriptive period under in assessment, that there's a prescriptive period because the validity of your voluntary assessment. So that's 3 years counted from the date when the tax return was due. So yun. It's not that one. This one, the open case for non-filing of tax returns goes on and on until fixed. So the way to fix this is to file and pay. When you file that. For example, if it's just zero, zero filing or no payment filing, then you just have to submit the form and then go to the officer today, have the penalties in your form. He will write the numbers for you, and then that will be signed by the officer of the day, who is also a BIR auditor or a revenue officer, and then he will invoice that to the assistant auditor or the auditor for the approval of the penalty. Now, when you have paid all the tax returns that you have failed to file and pay, then you will go to the admin section of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and they're the one to do the data fix. What will they do now? They will delete or remove your open cases for the non-filing and payment of tax return. So you don't stop when you have paid, when you have filed and paid. You still have another step in the process, which is to have the open cases fixed by the admin. But for me, just to make sure that the admin really did its job, I will then go back to collection or the assessment. The assessment section, I think, is in the compliance and collection section, but you will get the case list from the collection section of the BIR. For the data fix in admin, you will go to collection and now check if there would still be the open cases list after you have paid and filed and open data fix. I hope this is something that you're plain enough to understand, but I hope this has given you an insight as to the two-page, no, this is only a single page solution for certificate registration. Most digital entities would have two pages, but for professionals or single pages, so there you have it. I hope you have valuable discussion of the certificate of registration. Would have understanding which tax returns as an individual, as a professional, you would need to follow. And when. If you find this useful, and even if not, because you listen, please like, share, and subscribe. I need to grow my base, and also I need to catch up on the hours. And just thank you. It has been another day, and I started May 2. I finished May 3. Thank you.